You kneel at the edge of a slow brown river, cupping water in both hands. It's cool against your skin. It looks clean enough, but you have no way of knowing that a single sip could carry a parasite that spends the next 2 weeks turning your gut into a battlefield, and there is no doctor behind you, no pharmacy, no bottled alternative. This is roughly 4,000 years before anyone on Earth has heard the word bacteria. You still have to drink something. Today, right now, you can walk to a tap, turn it once, and get water that's been filtered, tested, and chemically guaranteed safe by people you will never meet. You don't check it. You don't think about it. For more than 99% of the time humans have existed on this planet, that tap simply did not exist, and yet billions of people still survived long enough to have you. So how did ancient humans survive for hundreds of thousands of years without a single certified drop of clean water? How did they even know which water would keep them alive and which would quietly kill them? Start in Egypt, around 1500 BCC. On tomb walls at Thebes, painted for Amenhotep II and Ramses II, archaeologists found a device most people scroll past without a second look, a siphon, used to draw water off the top of a settling jar. Below the surface, something heavier had already sunk to the bottom, a compound called alum, added on purpose to clump dirt and sediment together so it fell away from the water people actually drank. That's not an accident. That's chemistry. 3,500 years before the word existed. You wouldn't have known what a pathogen was. You wouldn't have known why cloudy water made you sick more often than clear water did. But you'd have learned it anyway, by watching, by losing people, by noticing the pattern. Modern treatment plants still use alum as a coagulant today, the exact same trick, running underneath your own tap water right now. Everyone assumes early humans just drank straight from whatever river or puddle was closest, gambling with every mouthful. The truth is the opposite. By the time Egypt was raising pyramids, people were already running water through settling jars and treating it with alum on purpose, thousands of years before anyone could explain, in scientific terms, why it worked. So filtering solved half the problem. What did you do about the water you couldn't filter at all? Go back further. 13,000 years to a limestone cave called Raqefet on Mount Carmel in what is now Israel. In 2018, archaeologist Li Lu of Stanford University examined 3 stone mortars buried among Natufian graves and found something nobody expected: starch residue from wheat and barley, deliberately malted, mashed, heated, and left to ferment. That's beer, brewed 6,000 years before anyone in the region had domesticated a single crop. Here's the part that matters for you. Kneeling at that river. Making beer means boiling water first. Boiling kills almost everything dangerous in it. Add the alcohol produced by fermentation, and you've accidentally built a drink safer than the water it started from, without ever knowing what a microbe is. You weren't brewing beer just to get drunk at a feast. You were brewing it, in part, because it didn't make you sick as often as the river did. Everyone assumes alcohol was invented purely for pleasure, or ritual, or to loosen tongues at a gathering. The truth is messier. A drink that happened to be boiled and fermented was also, by accident, one of the safest liquids available. And some archaeologists now argue that the thirst for beer helped push people toward farming grain in the first place. But even a safer drink couldn't fix everything. Jump forward to Jerusalem, the 7th century BC. In 2023, Dr. Piers Mitchell and his team at the University of Cambridge tested sediment from 2 stone toilets built over cesspits. One at a site called Armon ha-Natziv, one beneath a house known as the House of Ahiel. Using an antibody test called ELISA, they confirmed the presence of Giardia duodenalis, the parasite behind dysentery, alongside eggs from whipworm, roundworm, and tapeworm. These weren't poor farmers scraping by on the edge of survival. These were wealthy households with private stone toilets in the capital of a kingdom. If you had lived there, silk stone floors and all, you would still have gotten sick. Dysentery doesn't announce itself with fangs or a growl. It sits quietly in the water supply, waiting, and it kills slowly through dehydration, especially in children. For most of human history, contaminated water probably killed more people, quietly, over weeks, than any predator ever did in a single afternoon. Everyone assumes the biggest danger to early humans was something with teeth: a lion, a wolf, a rival tribe. The evidence buried under a 2,500-year-old toilet says otherwise. The deadliest threat was invisible, waterborne. And already inside the water people trusted the most. So if the water itself was working against you, did your body have any defense at all? Turns out, yes, and it's stranger than any tool or technology. In 2021, biologist Herman Poncer at Duke University published a study in the journal Current Biology comparing water use in humans against chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans. The average human processes about 3 liters of water a day. The average ape processes closer to 6, roughly double. Humans also sweat far more than any other primate, sometimes losing over 2 liters an hour in extreme heat, 4 to 10 times the rate of a chimpanzee. And yet, somehow, human bodies still come out ahead, 30 to 50% less water used overall than our closest living relatives. Nobody fully knows why. Maybe it's the shape of the nose. Maybe it's ancient kidney efficiency. But the pattern is clear. At some point, the body you're sitting in right now evolved to need less water than any of our relatives, buying your ancestors more distance between one river and the next. Everyone assumes evolution made human bodies fragile compared to tougher wild animals that can go days without drinking. The data says the opposite. Among primates, humans are the water-saving model, built to stretch further on less, even while sweating more than any of our relatives. So which was it? The filtering, the fermenting, the hard-won knowledge about which water killed and which didn't, or the biology hiding underneath all of it? Really, it was never just one. No single trick kept anyone alive on its own. It was a lum settling in a jar, and grain fermenting in a mortar, and a mother somewhere noticing that the child who drank from the still pool got sick, while the child who drank from the running stream didn't, then passing that observation on, generation after generation, long before anyone had a word for germ, or parasite, or pathogen. The real technology was never the siphon or the beer, it was memory. Go back to that river, kneeling at the edge, cupping water in your hands. You still don't know what's living in it. But somewhere behind you is everyone who came before. The Egyptian who added alum without knowing chemistry, the Natufian who fermented grain without knowing microbiology, the parent in Jerusalem who buried a toilet's secrets 3,000 years before anyone dug them back up. You turn on a tap today and never think about any of them. That's not ignorance. That's inheritance. The water got safer. But really, you never defeated thirst. You just spent 10,000 years quietly outsourcing the fear of it to people who never got to meet you.